Marco, welcome.
Hey, ooh,
Guys, I'm going to introduce Marco for you because he's very humble and there's some things he's going to leave out. But Marco spent 25 years in the Israeli army in the intelligence unit, retired as a lieutenant colonel, and is still um, there's no rest for the weary and there's no retirement for Marco Moreno. And even recently, as all of this has been going on here in the country, he's not just somebody that we call because he knows what he's talking about. Bring him in on a conversation like this. Obviously, we work with him here in Israel, but he's also been a starring figure on the evening news in the circuit lately with the war going off. And so he's it's not just that Marco's our buddy and our brother, and he really is an expert in what we're talking about. So, Marco, how's it going?
everything is cool, guys. Sorry, I'm not used to live in Instagram, so I don't know if I'm positioning myself right in
No,
the
it's great.
camera.
Neither one of us knows what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the earphone in. So, um, I
How
am.
how many people we have on the live?
Susan, how many
59?
people do we have?
62.
59.
62. Oh, I can see it now.
Um, so today is Monday, April 15th. We'll archive this later and people can watch it. It's 7:02 p.m. local time here in Israel. So almost 48 hours ago, Marco, we got notice that Iran had entered the chat. And so just as a review, obviously we have October 7th. Marco and I have done a number of Moreno reports. Marco's semi-weekly show on the FAI YouTube channel about all of the different fronts that Israel's fighting a war with: Gaza, the West Bank, the Houthis in the south, or Hezbollah in Lebanon. There's Iranian-backed militias in Syria. So ultimately, all roads lead to Iran. But so far, we've been dealing with these proxy militias. And then Saturday night, Iran sent a direct attack on Israel proper. Marco,
Mhm.
has this ever happened before?
No.
So the Islamic Republic of Iran, and it stings a little bit to use the word republic to describe the regime, came into power in 1979. So you guys have never had a direct conflict with them. But when would you say tensions started to mount?
Well, the thing is, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, more or less, probably Israel killed the head of the Iranian Quds organization. It's like the guys that inside the Iranian Revolution Guards that are dealing with all the terror,
Mm-hmm.
the secret terror activities that the Iranian does outside of Iran in Damascus. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he was the head of the Lebanon and Syria Quds organization. It's like he's the guy that is the POC from the Iranian dealing with Hezbollah, mainly in
Mm-hmm.
Lebanon. He usually sits in Lebanon. His office is in Beirut, and he also is responsible on what's going on with Syria or the pro-Iranian militia. And this guy is the number one enemy of Israel that deals with all of the Iranian activities with Hezbollah and all the Iranian forces in Syria. Is a big threat on Israel. He was dealing probably moving a special weapon to Hezbollah, preparing them to the conflict that is going to come in the north. Okay, so someone killed him inside Iranian consulate next to the embassy. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
it's the Iranian embassy, then it's the consulate, then it's the Canadian, by the way, embassy. Uh, we like the Canadians, just to be clear.
Yeah.
We didn't bomb the Canadians,
Mm-hmm.
even though they are giving money to UNRWA, and even though they stopped the security export to Israel, but that's a side issue. We're not going to talk about that today. And also we have Nathan in our team. FAI He's Canadian. He's the only Canadian we have, I think, which is also
Well, then
cool.
we drew a line.
Yes. So let's return to the subject. So he was dead alongside with his deputy and others. Then the Iranians started to threat Israel that they're gonna retaliate from Iran, which that never happened before. Iranians are usually like to work proxy quietly. They have Hamas in the south part. They have Hezbollah in the north. They have the Houthis in Yemen. You know, those things are familiar. Everybody's speaking about that. And Shabbat evening, not Shabbat evening, Saturday evening, like actual Shabbat evening. Usually when we say Shabbat evening in Israel, it's Friday, but it was Shabbat evening, Saturday evening. Iran launched above 300 things to Israel, between 110 to 130 ballistics missile. Ballistic missile, it's a huge missile. It goes out to the atmosphere and it comes back. Okay. It can carry all the way to 750 kilogram of explosive. So it's a big missile. Also 180-ish drones, the same drones that they gave to the Russian. We see it in the Ukraine. Those drones can carry about 25 kilogram up to 50 kilogram explosives, and something like 36 medium missiles, which are much more smaller than the ballistic missiles. Okay, everything was launched in separate time, but to arrive at the same time to Israel, because a drone needs 8 hours, ballistic missiles need 12 minutes, and the other missiles need 2 hours. So they have like three circles of shooting. So everything will arrive to Israel. Israel, with a coalition that we will talk now about it, intercept 99.9 of everything. Let's start the numbers. All the ballistic missiles were intercepted by Israel outside in the atmosphere, not inside, outside, using what we have the Arrow defense system. The drones were intercepted like almost half, more or less, by US Army, British Army, French Army, Jordan Army, Saudian Army, and probably the Emirat. Okay, that's the coalition. Very interesting that we have all the Sunnis with the American governorate intercept that. The rest of the drone, the Israeli Air Force intercept outside of the Israeli border. They didn't came in. Okay.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and the medium missiles were intercepted totally. Only something between 4 to 6 ballistics, not my ballistics, small, not small, medium missiles were able to go in and fail in the south in an Air Force base, which was the target, but didn't do a lot of damage or something like that. So this is like it's a Guinness record, never happened before, and Israel did the history in this sense that we were able to intercept all the threats, all kind of threats, and a lot of them. It was about 300 in total in a very short time of a couple of minutes. That's for that. But let's talk strategy. Iranian country, Iran, which is an enemy country, actually declared a war on Israel. Because if you are a country and you are shooting on another country 300 any kind of missile in order to hit, it's not like small missile, this is heavy stuff. You are declaring a war. And now everybody is waiting to see what will be the Israeli response. First of all, I want to talk about the U.S. piece, the American side of stuff. If you guys remember, Biden said before the Iranian launched the attack, don't, the very famous don't. The second
This
time
was
was
October 8th or so when he first responded.
like 2 days, I think, because the American intelligence services saw that the Iranians going to do it. So Biden said to the Iranian, don't. and we know they didn't care about the don't. Which is very, very frustrating to say. Like America is the superpower state, and you should anticipate that a country like Iran will hear the threats of the American president, and they ignore it. Why they did it? Because I think they understand that Biden is in his war of election, year of election, and he's a Democrat and a progressive side party, everything mixed together. And I have to remind our audience here that in 2019, the Iranian shot like, I don't know, 10 drones, 10 missiles, something like that, against Armaco, which is the Saudi Arabian oil company, and destroy it and actually hurt 50% of the oil, capability of Saudi Arabia, which impact the American economy immediately, which is a huge American interest in the Middle East. And America didn't do nothing. By the way, it was Trump administration at that time. So I don't want to get into that. That will be another live. Why America or the US is very weak in their action in the Middle East. You can, connect it to the Ukraine piece, China, Russia, etc. But I think it started from Obama. I think Obama is the problem of all the problems in the Middle East, because he said, a new Middle East. But let's not get into that. Let's return. Let's return what Israel will do now. There is a lot of discussion in the war cabinet in Israel. What should be the response, or should be a response, or in person, I think that Israel will respond. Okay, I think a country cannot allow another country to shoot that kind of missiles. We were in this conception before October 7th with Hamas. We get used to it. Okay, they're shooting missiles. We have the Iron Dome. Now we are like normalizing everything, and then we can say, yeah, okay, the Iranians shot those missiles, but we intercepted. Everything is cool. No more conception October 7th. So probably Israel will respond in the next 24 hours. I don't know what will be the response, how strong it will be, which message it will send, but it might escalate the area to a war. Okay, so now this is something I never said in the last 6 months. We always talk about the North. In the North, you guys remember, all of us, we live in the North. Now, I'm saying now that we are entering a couple of days very intense, that in the end of them, we might find ourselves in a massive war in the north, because if Israel respond to Iran, and the Iran will respond back, and that's miscalculation, and pretty quickly you're down the hill, and we find ourselves with a war with Hezbollah, which will be another ball game, because of rockets, because. And so that's where we are. We have the Gaza front. We cannot forget that. We still have 134 hostage still in Gaza. We have the Rafah situation. Israel strategically doesn't want to leave Gaza. We need to finish the job there. But the Iranian are pushing us back to this area. So I don't know. I really don't know. It's very complicated. We have a lot of fronts in Israel. We had the Ramadan here. Ramadan was quiet. Everybody was afraid before Ramadan. Probably this will happen. But Ramadan went, and that's also connected to the West Bank. Well, I think we did the Moreno report on that. Um, so long story short, intense days. Stay tuned. Let's see if Israel will respond. Probably, yeah. When? Probably in the next 24 hours, 48 hours. And then let's see what the Iranian will do. I'm telling you guys, if Iran will respond after after we respond, so whoever booked the flight to Israel, you probably want to cancel it.
So I'm laughing because we have some friends
I
booked to come this weekend.
know. I just said because we have a lot of friends coming. but they bought refundable tickets. Guys, refundable tickets, that's the deal.
So, Marco, let me ask you this because, it can look a bit like, you guys have been in the shadow war. I've seen a lot of people online going, well, look, Israel asked for this. You guys bombed an embassy. But this is not the first time. It's a constant, there's nuances and things, but the Iranians bombed an embassy that you guys in the 90s. Like, it's just been this kind of tit for tat dance, right? But you've been dealing with their proxies in real time. You've been dealing with Hezbollah, the guys in the West Bank, the Houthis, Hamas. Um, and then when Iran engaged, you had 6 hours. You knew everything's going to land at such and such time. So I was surprised that they actually decided to pull the trigger on anything. But do you look at what they did and think they're just trying to save face and engage on some level, or are they trying to test the waters and see how much they can get away with, or is this truly the best that they could have done?
Iranian, there is a strategic change in Iran. Okay, Iranian till now, let's say, according to foreign publicity, in the last 10, 15 years, we're killing tons of Iranian generals, bombing everything, doing a lot of stuff. They didn't do nothing.
Mm.
So what changed? Because of these three stars general, don't remember his name, Iranian name,
Mm.
but we killed in Damascus? No. I think Iran decided to go to another path with Israel. I think Iran decided to open a front with Israel directly because she thinks Israel is weak, because she
Mm.
thinks that Israel is still October 7,
Mm.
because she sees that Israel is divided inside because of all the stuff we have inside, because she sees that Biden and the American administration is not very supportive of
Mm.
Israel. The don't, the famous don't, is to Israel, not to anyone else.
Mm.
And that's the reason that Iran thinks that that's the time to go ahead. Doesn't have nothing to do with what happened 2 weeks ago. They just waited for the right, they just wanted an opportunity because they had
Mm.
this thing in their brain. Because Iranians are very logic
Mm.
and very strategic. They don't work with the gut.
Mm.
They're very patient. They're very clever. They said they had this plan and said, okay, let's wait to the opportunity to just take it out. And that's what happened. Like it's a massive change in the Middle East in the relationship between Iran and Israel. Don't try to put it on what happened in Damascus. There's nothing to do with it.
Mm.
Nothing to do with it. So we are witnessing a strategic change in the conflict between Israel and Iran. It goes out from the shadow to the light, which is good, by the way, in my
Mm.
opinion, which is good. Why? Because Iran is on the verge of being nuclear. They have to have a nuclear weapon.
Mm.
So I think Israel should engage a serious collusion with the Iranian to finish it before they imagine what will happen if they have a bomb. That's the end of
Right.
Israel.
Well, step one would be the end of Israel. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think, I was talking about this with my neighbors right before the live, that I think that we generally in the West, we underestimate the Islamic Republic of Iran. I think deep down we think that everybody's got a good heart and they're just trying to get by and let's leave them alone. And I think we severely underestimate the nature of Islam and the like violent apocalypticism of Islam and how it is informing, what then manifests into geopolitical issues. Do you think that Iran was surprised by the coalition, the diversity of countries that you mentioned? You have the UK, France, the US, like that sounds like the coalition that helped go
I
after ISIS,
think
right? But then you throw in Saudi,
yeah,
Jordan, the
I
Emirates.
think what Iran was, I don't know if they were surprised because probably they knew about, but one of the reasons October 7 happened is because they want to destroy this coalition. Like
And then normally,
they don't care about the US, Britain, and France.
mhm,
That's Europe. They were very concerned about Saudi Arabia, the Emirates,
mhm,
Jordan, the Sunnis camp against the Shia camps.
mhm,
And I think they got, and that's a success that was 2 days ago. I think they got to see in live how the coalition works.
mhm,
Like Saudi is intercepting drones going to Israel.
Is this
The
just
Emirates.
petty? Like they're just mad that Muslim countries are befriending Israel, or does it threaten Iran if Sunni countries build this kind of
Oh,
coalition with Israel?
it's threatening Iran that Israel is partnering with the coalition against the Shia. Because the
Mm-hmm.
Shia, it's like Iran, part of Iraq,
Mm-hmm.
Lebanon, Yemen, okay,
Mm-hmm.
part of the regime in Syria, and against that you have by the way, this camp, the Shia camp, goes with Russia and China also.
Mm-hmm.
They are in that side. In our side, it's the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
with the countries I just mentioned. Now, what Israel will do also will send a message to the coalition,
Mm-hmm.
because the coalition is partnering with Israel not because they like us, not because our beautiful eyes. It's because of interest, because they want to see, does this coalition is valid for us? Because if tomorrow Iran will attack us, Saudi, for instance, or the Emirates, who will come and help us? So
Mm-hmm.
it's a big deal.
To what degree do you think somebody like the U.S. administration right now, the Biden and his camp, like to what degree do these other parties in the coalition have influence on Israel's final say?
I think not the coalition. I think the Biden administration has a
Mm-hmm.
very big influence on what Israel will say. I think the reason we are not going into Rafah is because of the American
Mm-hmm.
still, because it's weeks and weeks and doesn't happen. Probably will happen. I don't know. They say it should happen this week, but because of the Iranian stuff, it didn't happen. And there is a big debate in Israel about the Biden administration. Is it good for Israel? Is it bad? By the way, I say I don't think it's bad. Okay, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, America is supporting us with weapon and intel and money,
Mm-hmm.
and we cannot be, ungrateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, Israel should ask herself, what's our interest? Are we the 51 state on the flag? The star on, or
Mm-hmm.
are we independent? So it's a big deal. Netanyahu, I think, is dealing with that very cleverly. It's an election year in the US. It's very complicated. Biden,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, Biden as a person loves Israel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Is vice president? I don't think so. Okay. Is progressive guys in his party? I don't think so. And what to do in the end? The American president is also a politician. He has also his stuff inside domestically, he has to take care, and you have to navigate all this stuff. But in the end, Israel should decide what's good for Israel, uh, with honoring and respecting our, friends and brothers in America,
Mm-hmm.
but not to a stage that the Iranian are shooting like 300 missiles on us, and we say, okay,
Right.
we intercept everything, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Normalize. We
Right. Because I think people
normalize, we will have
underestimate.
October. If we normalize what happened with Iran, October 7 is
Right.
around the corner again.
Right. And I think people underestimate the threat of it because you have this like miraculous, um, almost anticlimactic resolution to the story. Like we were up all night losing sleep, and the whole country has sirens. We're watching everything on the news, and for 99.99% of what was fired to get intercepted is significant. And I believe the only casualty in Israel is a 7-year-old Bedouin girl who got hit by shrapnel
Yeah,
and is in the hospital
yeah.
fighting for her life. Now, Iranians, things fell in Iran and Shireen killed Iranians, fell in Jordan and Amman, killed Jordanians. So
Iraq,
the only people that,
in Iraq
right.
also.
And as a matter of fact, you mentioned Nathan earlier. Nathan lives in Kurdistan, very close to the Iranian border, and he was watching everything that was getting fired off towards Israel. So it's bizarre to
Yeah.
kind of compare notes in that regard. Um, so, the Iranians are a significant threat against Israel, but also I believe the Islamic Republic of Iran is the Third Reich of our day. And we all know what would have happened if people had tolerated Hitler. So all war is hell. Nobody rejoices in war, but we're barreling headlong into a regional conflict here. And as you said, this could be good timing because we don't have nuclear weaponry yet. And if they did, it would be catastrophic.
The end of times.
The end of times. All right, Marco, what is there anything that you want to leave us with? Any final words or?
Uh, yeah. Well, the next 48 hours are interesting. Stay tuned. You know, pray for us. First of all, we love you guys, all the 77 viewers, 78. I see the comment here about thank you guys again, and we will keep on updating you. FAI in the end, you know, as a ministry, we here in Israel, we're doing a lot of stuff. You know, follow us on whatever. You have the Moreno report, we have the YouTube, you know, you ladies are, you know, the social media stuff. And we are your representative here on the ground. Keep on, you know, try to keep on updating you what's going on, and let's hope for the best.
Yeah. Marco, let me ask you,
Passover next week. Don't
Passover
forget Passover.
next week. Yeah, let's hope for a peaceful Passover. You were born and raised in Israel. Does this remind you of anything?
No.
Or does it feel like totally unprecedented?
No one had this experience, even if he wasn't born in Israel. Imagine we like 2 days ago we were sitting in front of the TV screen and we see, okay, drones are on the way. It will take them 6 hours to arrive. That's a formal notice of the IDF. It's not like the news. They said, okay, Iranian shot the drones, they are on the way. It will take them six. Okay, now the Iranian shot the missiles, it will take them 2 hours. Each of one of you would think sitting in home and say, "Oh, okay, 6 hours I have a missiles coming or a drone." It's crazy. It's just crazy. But let's see. We will prevail. This is heavy days in Israel. It started October 7. I said from the beginning it's the independence war, the second one, and it looks well. And don't forget, once the North will kickstart, things will get heavy.
Yeah.
But we
So
will prevail. We will prevail.
we've got some very reliable psalms to pray through while we weather the storm. I do want to. I hope this isn't a shameless plug, but I do want to just remind you guys watching. Thank you guys for caring. You know, 6.5 months into the war, it's if you're not here, you could just kind of go back to life as usual and business as usual and out of sight and out of mind. So that you continue to pray, you continue to care, continue to give means so much, not only to us, but you know, Israelis here, like our friends and neighbors who are able to see what we are able to do because you guys are giving sacrificially and very generously. You know, it's difficult to appropriately and adequately express the impact that it makes because, you know, they get online and it looks and feels like the whole world is against Israel. And to know that there are people who care enough to stand with them who have never even been here, never even set foot on Israeli soil, but care and are giving half a year into it. And this is just the beginning. So we know this is going to be a long road and a hard road, and we're not going anywhere. So if you guys would like to give to our Israel fund, you can do so at fai.online. You can go to donate and click give to Israel. You can jump in on our $5 monthly giving campaign and just kind of throw things in the bucket, and we're able to respond to different needs. So, and I'm proud of where those things are going because we're working, you know, Marco's able to discern there's a need here that I would have never found as a foreigner, you know, or there's different families or communities that need help, and we're able to do rapid response to civilians and soldiers alike. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Be in touch.
All right. See you, Marco.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.